Hi, you're listening to the Build Your Digital Community podcast. I'm your host, Christina Bartold, the co-founder and co-CEO of The Social Snippet, a social media agency focused on business owners growing their digital communities. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things digital community building so that you can grow your network and ultimately your business. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Build Your Digital Community. I'm Christina. I'm so excited to be here with my business partner, business bestie, life bestie, Maria. Hello.
Hi.
We don't get to do this too often, even though we see each other all the time. So we need to make more of a priority of actually just sitting down and doing some podcasting. But we're going to do something today that's a little different than what we've done before. And we're going to provide a little insight on a topic that we know is hot right now.
A hot topic. And one that people are asking me about. So I'm curious, let us know if you guys are finding this helpful or what you think of this conversation, because it's a little different for us, but I think it's top of people's minds right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've been spending a lot of time on this podcast. We kind of talk about more high vibe topics, and we're reflecting on kind of entrepreneurship more long term. And then Maria today was like, "Hey, let's actually talk about AI." And we're our friend Jim Carter.
We are Jim Carter in this moment.
Yeah, our friend Jim, check him out, Cause Hacker on Instagram. He provides an AI tip every single day, so that's awesome. But it's just funny because when AI I don't want to be when AI started, because it didn't just start, but when AI started to get really big with Chat GPT, and it's all everyone talked about, a lot of people would ask me questions "Hey, do you think you're gonna have a job?"
Yeah.
And I've never been worried about it. I don't know. What about you? Were you ever worried about it?
It was interesting because when I first kind of realized the power of AI and how rapidly it was progressing was actually when Jim did a presentation for us in the Fast Foundations Mastermind and really went in depth about how much power and intelligence is actually behind AI and how far along it is today, how amazing it already is. And in that moment, there was a little bit of fear that kind of crept in my mind of oh, this replaces all social media managers, graphic designers, copywriters, all of the pieces that we do to kind of make, social media come to life can be actually done by AI. So at first there was a little bit of fear, but I think the reason I actually want to talk about this today is I think the difference will be who is leaning into these tools and using them to their advantage versus who's scared of them and backing away and living in fear, right? And obviously we never know what's going to happen in the future, but the mindset I kind of have going forward is whatever happens will happen, and that's meant to happen on our path. But I don't think that robots, at least now, can provide the same insight and guidance and marketing tools that humans can provide.
No. I think it's interesting because I wonder, so we'll talk a little bit about how we've used Chat GPT, how we'd recommend businesses to use Chat GPT if that's the one that you want to try. There's lots of AI tools out there, like Otter AI, Jasper, lots of stuff you can try. Opus, which we've used for clip cutting. There's tons of stuff you can try, but really just trying to figure out really what works for you. But I actually think what's really neat about it is exactly what you said. It's actually just learning how to leverage it and making the most of the situation rather than making it feel like it's coming from a scarce place of, oh no, there's this new tool, what am I gonna do? It's no, there's this new tool, and how do I actually leverage this to cut time in my business that I'm working or what I'm doing. And we're seeing people do this, photographers and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be people who buy from people. And I'm in a Chamber of Commerce group, and I would say the demographic of the group's a little older, and when we talk about it, not in a negative way, it's just most people have been in business, I've lots to learn from them. But it's really interesting, there's a lot of fear around it, but also they are an amazing example of people love to do business with people. Mm-hmm. They all give each other so much business, and I want to contribute to that because they're all connected to each other. And so again, it's about building your community. It's AI is not gonna be building communities, so you don't have to worry about that. They're not gonna be going to networking events. They're not gonna be connecting with people. We love to give you're not gonna be next to somebody and be oh, Chat GPT. But really how can we leverage these tools to our advantage from a content creation standpoint, especially if you're not in a place where you want to outsource your social. So I also wanted to make it clear for those of you who are listening to our clients, we're not using Chat GPT now to do everything that we were doing before. Actually, what we're using it for is some of the stuff that we've never done before, and really leaning into more stuff for ourselves. So anyway, if you are an online business owner or an in-person brick and mortar business owner, let's go through a few ways that you can use Chat GPT in your business. So I'll let Maria kind of start us off.
Woohoo, let's do it. Okay, I want to start with the one that I personally have used the most, especially when it comes to like my own social media, and that is, you can probably guess, captions. Those of you who have listened to some of our previous episodes might know that in our humble beginnings, Christina and I would work together on every single client, and she would write every single caption, and I would do all the graphics and all the visuals and video kind of stuff. So we played to our strengths there, but captions is definitely an area where I struggle a lot, and I've really been leaning into Chat GPT to help me with that. And I think the reason why I struggle with captions so much is just phrasing the ideas and thoughts in a way that makes sense for like a social media caption. I'm actually really good at writing like long form research articles and things like that. But when it comes to like a short little social media caption, I'm like, how do I get all these ideas into one catchy little caption, right? And something Chat GPT is really great at is making it really engaging and using, you know, words that I might not use in a regular day, or coming up with like a cute little tagline or a hook or a CTA. And to kind of preface this, I think a really important thing to know about AI and Chat GPT is the results you get are very dependent on the questions you ask. So you can be like, hi, write me a caption. Or you can be like, hi, here are all the things I want you to know about my business. This is who my ideal client is. Here's what I'm trying to get across with my content. Ask me any other questions you need to ask me to write me a good caption. Let it ask you the questions, answer the questions. It remembers all of the conversation you've had, you know, leading up to when you ask like, hi, write me a caption. But then when you end up asking it after all of those steps, it provides some great options. And then, you know, half the time I don't like it, I'm like, regenerate. And then you can take little pieces from all the captions it kind of comes up with and then add your own spin on it, and you're good to go. For me, I overthink captions all the time. Like I just try and write things. I'm like, does that make sense? Does that sound weird? And with ChatGPT, it comes up with so many options so quickly that it really gets like my brain juices flowing on how I can come up with an amazing caption in like very little time. It's shaved so much time off of my caption writing ideas. And also sometimes I'll just have a picture and I'm like, I have no idea what to say about this picture or like what to write in the caption. And sometimes I'll go to Christina and be like, what do I caption this? And she's like, how about like
Happy Friday.
hashtag Happy Friday. You know, like 3 lessons you learned as an entrepreneur. But like, that's another thing you can ask ChatGPT. Hey, this is for my personal brand. These are some of my content pillars and some things I like to talk about. What's a good, you know, random caption that I can just pair with a photo of myself that I'm posting?
Love that. Yeah, and it actually just like, even just to get your brain going on it, right? Like I sometimes do it and then I don't even use the caption that they come up with and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. So I'll go next on ways we've used it. My dog just hit the door.
Patrick's barging in.
He wants in. But the next one that is about, even if you're at the stage where you're like, I don't even have something to write captions for. Like, I'm like, I don't know anything. I don't know how to do anything. Because that's actually what I see with most business owners is like, I did a consult maybe 2 weeks ago for a local business. I went and I did a presentation. It's like one of my favorite things to do. It's like this new offering we've got where I'm like a little traveling woman show. And I like go to a business and I spend a few hours with them and I just jam out on their social. Like, I'll like be there. I'll talk about what their social could look like. And like, it's great. They don't want done for you services, but they just want eyes on their business. I love that. It's a great way for me to get to know some awesome businesses. So I love that. And I was there and I was like, so what do you guys like want to post? And they were like, no idea. Like, I don't have one idea on what to post. And I was like, what do you mean you don't have one idea? Like, I can look around this room and I can see 100 things you could post today. And they were like, we can't think about it. And then, so actually what I did is I took them on a field trip around their store. And I was like, take out your phones, and I'm going to go through, and we're going to talk about all the different types of content you can make. And we looked, and I was like, this is this. What could you do with this? And they were like, maybe this. I'm like, great. And then I was like, you could videotape it like this. Have you thought about making a recipe video? Have you thought about this? Like, these things that normally feel like so easy because this is our gifting, right? Like, it feel really challenging for business owners, and we can really appreciate that. And so what I would say, even the first step before you even try a caption, is going into Chat GPT and asking them to make you a content plan. Make a content plan. You can use Please. I always use Please with AI just in case they end up taking over. I want them to know I want them to know I was nice. But I use like, hi, can you please, hi. How are you?
Hope you're doing well today.
Yeah. Hope this email finds you well. Can you please help me find like a content plan for a local social media agency based out of Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario? And so that's a great way for me to start to actually get some ideas. And it'll say like, here's some ideas. It's this, it's this, it's this, it's this. And it's really helpful. And so they'll give you can say, I want 30 ideas for a local law firm. Mm-hmm. And this is where I'm based. And it will tell you 30 ideas. I even like to take it one step further, and what Maria's talking about are prompts. And so that's where you are actually prompting it to be a little bit more like whatever you're looking for. So I learned this from Jim as well, because I was like in Chat GPT and I'd be like, make me a content schedule, and then make me a content schedule. And it was still good. It was still good.
Yeah.
But then I would say, make me write me a blog, a 250-word blog, written as a 30-year-old millennial blogger who owns a social media marketing agency. And then it would write it like similar to me. And then sometimes they would do things that I was like, I don't like that. Like the first one I ever tried, they put yo, yo, yo at the beginning. And I was like, that's a no for me, just generally. But like, it was really easy for them to spit out a bunch of ideas. So asking it like, I am a 55-year-old woman. I'm not, but I'm a 55-year-old woman, and I own a local soap company, and I need 30 ideas. And then it will do it, and it'll try to sound as much like you as possible. And then you can kind of keep rectifying it to try to get it as close as possible for you. So why that's amazing, right, is because before you're sitting there, you're like, I don't know what I'm going to post. No one has any excuse for that anymore. There's no excuse for not knowing what to post, because if you don't want to hire someone, ask Chat GPT and it'll tell you. So it's really great for making a content plan with you, and especially if you just need fresh ideas, and it offers a lot of suggestions. So you could say like, I'm looking for suggestions for this. I need a suggestion for a carousel post. What are 5 tips someone needs to know? Right before this, we came on here and we wrote, what does somebody listening to a social media podcast want to hear about? And AI wasn't one of the topics, but I was just curious. And then we asked, like, how does AI help social media managers? How does AI help a local business owner? And so these were some of the ideas that came up, but also ways that we're living in real time, which is awesome.
Yeah, so many good points there. I think one of my favorite things too is that it's like an ongoing conversation.
Yeah.
So it'll spit back, let's say it gives you 10 story ideas. And I love that you got specific with that, because I found that to be really helpful with ChatGPT too, is like, okay, hi, give me 10 ideas for reels specifically, and like, break it down. How do I film it? What do I need? All these things. Give me a script. Like, you can get really granular with it, and the more specific I find, the better. But if it gives you something back and it's like, yo, 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 you can write back to it and be like, hey, do it again, but don't include yo, yo, yo this time. Or do it. I've literally written back, I'm less nice than Christina to AI. If they take over, I'm the first to go.
I'll protect you.
But yeah, I'll write back and be like, do it again, but make it less tacky.
Yeah.
Or do it again, but give me ideas that don't require me to be on screen. Like,
you're the first to go for calling them tacky. You're out.
I've used the word tacky with them so many times. They're a little tacky. ChatGPT, I'm sorry, but you're a little taggy sometimes. But yeah, like whatever you think in your head, like when you read it, you're like, oh, that isn't quite right. It's a little too like blank. I'll literally write back to it being like, hey, try that again, but make it less blank. Make it shorter. Make it less weird. Like whenever you think about it, you can like actually have that dialogue with ChatGPT, and it will do it again. It can make it longer, shorter, less taggy, less yo yo yo, whatever you need it to be. It can be an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, you're out for sure. Yeah, it's amazing, and I think like that's where it can get really complicated, where people are like, well, maybe I won't need a social media manager because I'm just going to use ChatGPT. And like, is ChatGPT amazing? Yes, but at the same time, like, there's a level of strategy it's just not going to offer that a social media manager is going to offer, right? Like, we understand the platforms a little bit differently, like, but the thing that's most important is that like you're really building your community, right? So how can you use it to build your community? Another way too that I've seen is that if you're getting questions from your audience, you could also throw your questions in ChatGPT to get answers. So that this way, if you're like, I'm looking for like a more formulated response or something like that, or I'm looking for information about this topic, it's a really quick way to learn a lot of things.
Yeah.
So you could ask like, if someone came to me and they're like, I'm curious about YouTube strategy, typically I would refer out. That would be like kind of my move. I don't typically like try to give responses on things I don't know that much about, but if I was like in the mood to try that, I would go on Chat GPT and I'd say, okay, like tell me about how to grow on YouTube. And I'd be able to get comments there, right? But I really do advise only talking about things you know about. That's best case. And then another piece of it too is also this idea of content repurposing, right? Mm-hmm. And so ChatGPT, what's really cool about it is that you could put in a longer form article. And I actually like haven't really thought about this, and this is interesting for us to even talk more about offline about our blogs.
Yeah.
Because you can throw a blog in ChatGPT and say, please summarize this in an Instagram caption. And it will summarize it in an Instagram caption. So you could have something out there that you've loved writing, and you're like, I know people who love, like Maria, love to write long form content, but aren't good at writing short and snappy things. I'm good at writing short and snappy things. So it's easy for me to just be like, oh, that's how I would hook people in. But you can even ask, like, what are 10 calls to action about this? And things like that. And that could be really helpful. So content repurposing is definitely like a big piece of it that you can use it for. And it can just give you ideas. It just takes a minute. It's free, right? So you might as well kind of take advantage of it.
Yeah, I think on that note too, you could also get it, depending on how long your long form content is, to break it out into like 10 different posts. So you could give it a blog or even like a transcription from a podcast and just throw that in there and say, come up with 10, Instagram posts based on this blog, and it will do that.
Yeah.
It's really great. And I also love the piece that you mentioned about like learning and research. I've also used it for things like stats, information. For me, on my personal, I always love talking about burnout, but I don't know all of the things there are to know about burnout. So then I just ask it, like, give me some stats, give me some information, and then I can educate myself a little bit more to like make a post that actually is very educational and, provides a lot of insight to people. And with that, I will also tell you, make sure you check the stats and stuff it gives you. I think right on ChatGPT, they have a thing being like, by the way, this isn't like a human, so make sure you use your human filter to look at all the information it's giving you and make sure it's actually correct. Because as we know, it is a very new tool, so it's still learning and it's not perfect. And I think as we've kind of mentioned throughout this episode, just important to keep in mind, like, still use your human filter through all of this stuff, right? Like, I think where we're at right now is it's a great place to get inspiration, get ideas, get ideas for different content, different posts you can do, captions, all these different things. You could even like ask it, what should I put in my bio? My guess is it can probably do a lot of SEO keyword stuff. But at the end of the day, make sure you're always like putting your human filter through it and just using it for what it is, which is a tool, not like the be all and end all.
That's actually a piece of what I was going to say, kind of maybe to wrap us up a little bit too, was just that it's amazing really when we start to think about this as it being a tool, like not it being end all be all, like not it being, it's about like helping us work smarter, not harder. So even I think about Opus, and I'll leave an affiliate code for Opus, which clips up like content, that saves us tons of time.
Yeah.
Where you can put in a video, it's not perfect yet. Riverside also has a tool like this too, so checking it out on Riverside is worth it too. It's brand new when we're recording it. I think it came out like yesterday. So I've really tested it a bit, but like having someone else clip it up rather than having like, that's going to change our podcasting business long term, right? Right now, like Meredith, who's recording this, is going to do clips for us, right? But is there a world where Meredith maybe doesn't have to do that? And, Meredith edits the episode and that's done? Like, I don't think video editors are gone. Like, I think we're always going to need people who edit video. We're always going to need people who edit these things because podcast editing, even software now, there's tons of AI out there. It's not perfect. Some of it's not even good.
Yeah.
So really, like, asking yourself, like people are remembering that, like, you have a value, like, that you bring to other people. AI is not going anywhere. And look at online shopping. Like, we thought online shopping was the future and that there wouldn't be in stores anymore. And most people still prefer to go in store. Mm-hmm. I never want to shop online. So we're all changing. We're all kind of growing. And as technology grows kind of with us.
I'm just laughing because every time I think of online shopping, I think of that dress.
I knew exactly why you laughed. I knew. I bought this dress and it was this blue dress. And it was like so unfortunate. And I didn't realize it came with a belt, which is a key piece of the story. But I put it on and I was like, this is a garbage bag. I look like I'm in a garbage bag. And then everyone. But, okay.
You look like a flying squirrel. Isn't that the thing?
People were coming after me. But, okay. This is a great example, though. And this is like, maybe you and I should do another episode about this. But about how, like, this type of content is actually the content that does best.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. Like, people are interested. And so I had people, like, vote on what I look like. And people were messaging me being like, where did you get this? Like, oh my God, sue them. Like, it was so funny. But it was totally about, like, I don't know. Anyway, this is is probably a part 2. We've gone off the heels over here, but it was funny. Anyway.
It was good times. Anyway, I think, like all things, use AI, take it with a grain of salt, whatever it comes up with, but also use it to overcome some of your, struggles with social media. So if even like, for example, if showing up on screen is terrifying for you and you're like, I have no idea how to do this, ask Chat GPT, what are some steps I could take to get more comfortable showing up on screen? Maybe that's, first you take a picture and, post it in your stories and write the text on top. Then you get a script and you like start practicing. For me, it's captions. Whatever your like struggle is with social media, like Christina mentioned, for new businesses and people that are just getting started, it's content ideas. I think it's just a great tool to help you overcome the pieces that you're either not good at or you struggle with, or kind of the roadblocks that are standing in the way. So it's a free tool. You do have to give them, I think, your email and phone number, but anyone can use it. And as always, if you guys have questions or like trying to figure it out and how you can best use it to support your social strategy and your content creation process, send us a DM and we'd be happy to chat with you a bit more about it.
Mm-hmm. And if we missed an AI tool that you love, unless you're Jim, we don't want to hear from Jim. Because Jim posts 5 new AI tools a day. So Jim, you keep those to yourself, or on Cause Hacker, which you should go check out. But if you have an AI tool that you're loving and you're like really excited about it and it's really helping you in your business, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to try it out. We meet tons of entrepreneurs all the time, so we always want to make sure that we know some things that can help some people. So
I just thought of a super trendy one that we missed.
No.
Have you seen on TikTok those people that make the LinkedIn headshots?
No.
Okay, so it's an app called, I believe it's Romini. I'll correct that in the show notes if that's not right, but I know it's expensive, so I think you have to download it. You get like a few days or like a week of a free trial, and you just have to go ham in that time and then like cancel it or pay for it if you want to. But essentially you upload like a little selfie or pictures of you, and then you ask it to make like professional headshots, and then people are using these headshots as their LinkedIn profile photos. So I actually tried it with a friend of mine, and hers were a little odd looking. I mean, it's not great at teeth and it's not great at fingers. But if you guys have seen this on TikTok, some of them turn out really, really well. And then
if you don't have teeth and if you don't have fingers, it's perfect for you.
You might come out with like 3 legs, but it's fine. And if you've seen that trend on TikTok where people are like making little photos of what their babies would look like.
Oh yeah.
That's also that same Romini app. So I think you put in a photo of yourself and your partner and it comes up with what your baby's gonna look like.
I don't want to know.
Less helpful for social media, but the LinkedIn headshot one is good. Mm-hmm. I just thought I'd bring that up because it's so trendy right now on TikTok.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm fearful that when this episode comes out, it won't be trendy anymore, but go check it out.
You never know.
You never know. They'll probably be on to their next trend.
Yeah. But what would the next trend be?
I have no idea. But also, can we quickly just talk about how Threads died?
Did it die?
I think it's dead. I'm off of it. I haven't been on
what?
it. I haven't seen anything about it in days.
It's been like a week.
I know.
I don't think it's dead. I logged on and the first day it popped up and I never logged on.
But that's what I mean. I think we're over it.
But like we were kind of over Twitter. I think we just jumped on Threads because it was like a new fun thing to like check out. But aren't we kind of over Twitter? I don't know.
There are people who are certainly not over Twitter. Like they're tweeting. But Twitter the other day just got renamed.
It did?
Yeah. Elon Musk is going to call it X.
Oh, I heard the logo was getting changed to an X, but I didn't quite understand why. That makes sense.
Perfect.
From a bird to an X.
They should have called us for marketing advice. Anyway, we love you guys. We're so appreciative of everybody who listens. I love having Maria here on the podcast. We're minutes away from just becoming co-hosts. We just also want to say, like, anytime that you have a thought on something you want Maria and I to talk about, we literally get on here. We're always like, what should we talk about? And the conversation always turns out to be great, but we want to hear from you. So you let us know and keep on building your digital community. Woohoo! Thanks so much for listening to the Build Your Digital Community podcast. If you loved the episode, please don't forget to rate us and leave us a review. Now, we'd love for you to be a part of our digital community. Text JOIN to 855-908-4688 to join our text list for exclusive social media tips, or DM us on Instagram at The Social Snippet, letting us know what you loved about the episode. Keep on building community, and to this and so much more.